Stranger of Paradise, Final Fantasy Origin. Dear God, that is a long name. Is a remake of the... Wait, hold on. What's that? Oh! That's a good sign. I sure hope I'm not breaking any stream rules. Or wait, is it because it's a 404 now? Does that mean that we can have stream anarchy? Well, considering this game hates being recorded, I sort of doubt it. Yeah, so like I was saying, this game's a remake of the original Final Fantasy. But in this case, the original was a traditional RPG, and this one is an action RPG. That's right, before we had... You better believe we're doing a remake of the first Final Fantasy. And we're playing as the warrior Jack. Jack Fantasy in his quest to fight.
Chaos. Chaos.
Chaos.
Chaos.
Chaos.
Chaos.
Chaos?
Yeah, they say that a lot. But still, it's pretty neat to see the world of Final Fantasy 1 in high definition. I mean, look at these vistas. To think they made an open world full of... What do you mean it's not an open world? No. It's mission-based? But why? How? Well, you have to know the team behind this game. This project was either given to or proposed by a mobile gacha game maker. And, to be fair, it was the team behind Dissidia Opera Omnia. So the mission nodes make sense and are very reminiscent of that system, for better or worse. And it's not the only thing, but we'll get to those when they're relevant. It's such a shame that the game was chopped up into nodes, as the game itself is quite gorgeous, and very rarely do things ever look drab or even too cluttered. Though, considering Square's prior foray into making an open-world action RPG, the results were mixed, to say the least. Yep. Still going. Maybe almost there.
Sometimes I wonder if we'll ever sit inside that beautiful car again.
Sitting most of the day was pretty nice.
You know, we don't
Napping
have
is
to
even
make it the
better.
whole way. In fact, let's cut it now. So, mission-based gameplay it was. Though I do firmly believe that that decision was because they were either not given enough time or budget. Probably both to make the game that they really wanted. Because they did model the town of Corneria. There's an inn and there's an armorer. It's clear there was more planned in this game than what was given. At least you could talk to the villagers, if you ever cared to or remembered in the first place. They're about as useful as the original Final Fantasy NPCs, and that's at least consistent.
It looks like the time has finally come for your expedition to the shrine. I pray for your success and safe return.
I don't give a fuck who you are.
Much like Final Fantasy 15, you're stuck playing only as Jack.
Looks like
And
chaos
don't come
has
at me
been
with
waiting
the,
for
they
us.
made it so you could play other characters bit. Yeah, but that was a lot of content patches, and it was definitely not out of the box. Either way, there would be no real direct benefit to playing your companions, as they play exactly the same as you. At least, when you are that class. Because you better believe classes are a thing in this game. Sort of. They all tend to boil down to punch Badman in the face. It's just different flavors of it. And that might sound boring, but oh, it never is. Combos are pretty customizable, and with more classes that you unlock, combo abilities will further increase. On the subject of classes, there's 3 categories. Basic, so things like Monk, Duelist, and Swordmaster. Advanced, Warrior, Thief, and your Rainbow Coalition of Mages. And of course Expert, the big dick classes, such as Tyrant, Ninja, and Sage. They're all pretty viable outside of the caster classes. Those feel like they're explicitly for online co-op, and that's basically because the AI is not great at keeping aggro. Which means, unfortunately, I've never participated because I'm a capital G gamer. As your jobs grow, you're finding yourself not just fighting, but styling on your enemies. Jobs are the only things that you're leveling up because the characters themselves have no levels. Levels are pretty much relegated to equipment, and boy howdy, do you get a metric ton of them. If you like being a little loot goblin, then this game was made for you. Every enemy, big or small, drops equipment of some description. These all tend to be minor increments, but do make a big difference in combat. Being underleveled means you're beating the bad men to death instead of depleting their stamina gauge, which is faster and more efficient. A combat encounter that could take a few seconds might take a minute or two depending on your item level. The item rarity doesn't really seem to affect much outside of how many stats an item can get, and even that is dubious. Like, look at these two items. They're exactly the same, but one, for whatever reason, is better than the other. How does this happen? No idea. It really just is, and you have to accept it. I would much rather have the traditional items and levels than this loot extravaganza. These stages are vast, but unfortunately very linear. There's not much to explore in these mission nodes. You'd find one hidden area at best, and to call these areas hidden can be generous. Oftentimes, they're screaming at you to investigate. Some of them can be clever, like this area needing fire to open it up. And honestly, it's little gimmicks like that which I enjoy immensely. But due to the limited interactivity of these areas, though, it makes such things vestigial at best and disappointing at worst. I know I said these levels are linear, but they do try to have them backtrack on themselves. You know, like every Souls game does. But you never need it once you unlock the shortcut, the next campfire, cubes. You know, the thing that respawns enemies, heals you and your party up, and restores your healing items. They're often around the next corner anyway. I can see how this would have made sense in a more open world experience, but with a mission-based game, you go in, you beat up the big nerd at the end, and get teleported out, either literally or figuratively. Again, a bigger scope than what we were given. Alright, from here on, we're getting into spoiler territory, so if you're interested in the story, skip to this point. Much like the original Final Fantasy, we go to the Chaos Shrine with our 3 Warriors of Light. Okay, that's a bit weird.
Looks like
But
chaos.
at least their crystals are...
Crystals can sense each other.
But still, we face Scarlin at the... Oh, god damn it. Well, okay, we're at least 4 now, even if we're still stuck using a 3-party system. Alright, that was weird, but yeah, the hero's journey, just like the original. We hit all the high points, with extra spice, the Jack way. Confronting Captain PK. After we borrow the ships from the pirates, we go fight Astos, the Dark Elf King. Well, I guess we're not fighting him. Oh well, it does give us the funniest scene in the game.
Bravo, Jack. And a round of applause for Jed Ash. And Neon, of course.
You know who we are?
I'm a dark elf, you see. And we dark elves...
Just tell us about the crystals. That's all I want to know.
It's up for debate.
Chaos? It's just a fairy tale. The darkness, the beasts, this despair that eats away at people's hearts. It's easy to blame a single thing for all of that. It gives people hope to think the world can be saved with a single heroic deed, even if it's never that simple. So I decided to become a sacrifice. I offered myself to the darkness and prayed to become chaos, hoping some band of heroes would defeat me and thus bring an end to this empty dream.
Bullshit.
After exploring random places and punching exotic faces, we've finally reached the Wind Temple. And hey, wait! We reached our flashback from the beginning. Yeah, once we helped Tiamat acquire the taste of shoe leather. Not only did we get a 5th member, but also some garbled memories, which, if you were paying attention, it's a blessing to forget.
Your memories will be stored in this device.
Strange stuff, but
Be sure
we go
to bring
forward and activate all the crystals and get more fragmented memories. Things are starting to become really clear, you know, as mud. You'd think that'd be the end of things, but people are pissed at us for some reason. We did what they wanted, but everything's going terribly wrong.
Something bad is stirring.
It leads to one of the more infuriating cutscenes. Not because it's bad.
Got it.
This may sound odd coming from an old corsair like me, but don't give in to hatred. Don't let it control you. Or you'll end up like old Dickie. I don't even know who to hate anymore. How did it all end up like this?
You could tell there was a story or vision cut out because the death of BK is sad. But this is your second interaction with him. You could tell by the line delivery that there was more to him that we were supposed to see. Now, obviously, if someone had more screen time with you and your party members, that would be a truly sad death. Unfortunately, this is not one of them.
Nothing resembles. You see now, right? The Lufenians
Also,
have holes
if you weren't
in
paying
reality,
attention and
dispatching
reading the reports
strangers
that are
like you as
scattered
regulators.
and or
If the
hidden,
balance of light and
this
darkness
is your
fails,
wake-up call to
they
everything
won't
going
hesitate to reset
exactly
the
to the
world.
plans of a hyper-advanced
They couldn't give a
civilization
damn
called
about
the
Cornelia
Lufenians,
or
who
its people.
all eat out of this world and made their own paradise.
What are you talking
They now
about?
use this world as their own test tube and reset it
I'm
over
guiding
and
you
over
like you
again.
asked me to.
Oh,
They
and the
can't
party,
control
everyone
chaos.
but
That's
Neon,
their
is a
weakness
Lufenian,
and
of
our
course. They're
opportunity.
called strangers. They've been doing this and been
This is
trapped
the
in this
third
cycle
time we're
for
having this
who knows how many
conversation.
iterations.
This was all your idea.
Well, Jack and everyone knew it wasn't right and set a plan in motion to, say it with me now, punch those Lufenians in the face. And so we do.
What's so funny? Answer us.
Not a chance! Cloaked in gloom and veiled by shadow.
And surprise,
we await that
Jack
fateful
is
day
Garland,
when the warriors of
which
light
would have been a surprise
rise.
if it weren't for the fact that it was so clear that people guessed it at the drop of the
Although the
very
gloom
first
will
trailer.
be faded first. Even a sputtering candle is brilliant against the black.
Stranger of Paradise is a gem in my eyes. No matter how unpolished elements of it might be, I still hold it up there with one of my favorite games.
It's just a scratch.
It was a bold release at the time and still to this day. While I would love for other Final Fantasy games to get the same treatment, I don't see it as something Square would be willing to do. It's a shame because I think there's a lot of potential in a format like this. Still, I recommend that you pick it up. It goes on sale often enough, and I think it's worth a try.